Love. It's the most powerful force in the universe. It heals broken hearts. It bridges divides. It even has the audacity to love the unlovable. Jesus, in his infinite wisdom, taught us to love our enemies. This isn't just a suggestion. It's a radical command that challenges our very core. It's a love that defies logic, transcends reason, and calls us to a higher standard. We are called to love not just those who love us back. We are called to love those who hurt us, betray us, and make our lives difficult. This love isn't a feeling, it's a choice we make every single day to see past the offense and see the human being created in God's image. This love is a journey, not a destination. It's a process of letting go of anger, resentment, and bitterness. It's about embracing forgiveness. It's about choosing compassion over condemnation. It's about seeing our enemies through the eyes of Jesus, who loved them enough to die for them. It's about remembering that they too are hurting, lost, and in need of grace. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus delivered a revolutionary message. He challenged the status quo and turned conventional wisdom upside down. Love your enemies, he declared. These weren't just pretty words, they were life-altering instructions. He didn't stop there. He went on to say, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. These words, spoken over 2,000 years ago, still resonate with a profound truth. Jesus knew that loving our enemies wouldn't be easy. He understood the human tendency to retaliate. That's why he gave us practical advice. He said, if someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. He wasn't advocating for passivity in the face of injustice. He was teaching us the power of nonviolent resistance. He was showing us that responding to hate with love has the power to disarm our enemies and break the cycle of violence. Jesus' teachings weren't meant to be theoretical. They were meant to be lived out. He demonstrated this love time and time again throughout his ministry. Imagine the scene. Jesus, nailed to a cross, falsely accused, mocked, and ridiculed. In his greatest moment of agony, he uttered these words, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This wasn't a display of weakness. It was the ultimate act of love and forgiveness. Even in the face of unimaginable pain, Jesus chose mercy over judgment. He could have called down legions of angels to rescue him. He could have rained down fire and fury on those who wronged him. But he didn't. Instead, he chose to forgive. He chose to love. He chose to show us that forgiveness is always possible, no matter how deep the wound. Jesus' actions on the cross weren't just an example of his divinity. They were an example for us to follow. He showed us that forgiveness isn't about condoning wrong. It's about releasing ourselves from the bondage of bitterness. It's about choosing to see the humanity in those who have hurt us. Forgiveness. It's a word that can evoke a range of emotions. For some, it represents weakness. For others, it's an impossible task. But for those who have experienced its power, it's nothing short of transformative. Forgiving someone who has hurt us doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean saying what they did was okay. It means releasing them from our judgment and choosing to move forward. It means breaking free from the chains of bitterness that bind us to the past. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. It's a decision to let go of the anger and resentment that poison our hearts. It's a step towards healing, wholeness, and freedom. When we forgive, we open ourselves up to the possibility of reconciliation. It may not always be possible to have a relationship with the person who hurt us, but forgiveness allows us to move forward without the weight of anger and resentment. Section 5. Breaking the chains of bitterness. Bitterness. It's a poison that eats away at our souls. It keeps us trapped in the past, replaying old hurts and grievances. It robs us of our joy, peace, and ability to love fully. When we hold on to bitterness, we allow our enemies to control us from the past. We give them power over our emotions, our thoughts, and our lives. But when we choose to forgive, we break those chains. We reclaim our power and choose to live in the present. Forgiving our enemies doesn't mean we condone their actions. It means we refuse to let their actions define us. It means we choose to rise above the hurt and embrace the freedom that comes with forgiveness. It's a journey that takes courage, strength, and a willingness to let go. Section 6. The courage to love unconditionally. Loving our enemies takes courage. It means going against our natural instincts. It means choosing compassion over judgment, forgiveness over revenge. It means seeing the humanity in those who have wronged us, even when it's hard. It means loving them, not because they deserve it, but because it's who we are called to be. Love is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of incredible strength. It takes courage to love those who are unlovable. It takes strength to forgive those who have hurt us deeply. But the rewards are immeasurable. When we choose love, we choose freedom, we choose peace, we choose to live a life that reflects the love of Christ. It's a journey that requires us to tap into a power greater than ourselves. It's a journey that leads us closer to God and closer to our true selves. Section 7. Embracing compassion as a way of life. Compassion, it's the ability to step into someone else's shoes and see the world through their eyes. It's about understanding their pain, their struggles, and their motivations. When we embrace compassion, we open ourselves up to a whole new way of seeing the world. We begin to see our enemies not as monsters, but as human beings who are hurting, lost, and in need of grace. Compassion doesn't excuse wrong behavior, it seeks to understand it. It recognizes that everyone has a story, and everyone is fighting a battle we know nothing about. When we choose compassion, we choose to see the best in others, even when they can't see it in themselves. We choose to be a source of healing and hope in a world that so desperately needs it. Section 8. The ripple effect of love and forgiveness. When we choose to love our enemies and forgive those who have hurt us, something extraordinary happens. A ripple effect of love and grace begins to spread outward, touching the lives of those around us. Our act of forgiveness can inspire others to do the same. Our willingness to love unconditionally can challenge those around us to examine their own hearts. We may never know the full impact of our actions, but we can be sure that they have the power to change the world. One act of kindness, one word of forgiveness, one gesture of love can have a profound impact on those around us. It can break down walls of division, heal old wounds, and create a more compassionate and just world. Section 9. Finding freedom in letting go. Holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness is like carrying a heavy weight on our shoulders. It weighs us down, drains our energy, and prevents us from experiencing true joy and peace. But when we choose to forgive, we release that weight. We free ourselves from the chains of the past and open ourselves up to a future filled with hope, healing, and possibility. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of incredible strength. It takes courage to let go of the hurt, the anger, and the desire for revenge. But the freedom we experience when we finally let go is worth more than words can say. Section 10. Choosing love, choosing transformation. Choosing to love our enemies is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. It's a choice we make every time we encounter someone who has hurt us, betrayed us, or disappointed us. It's a choice to see them through the eyes of Jesus, who loved them enough to die for them. It's a choice to extend grace, mercy, and forgiveness, even when they don't deserve it. This choice has the power to transform our lives. It breaks down walls of bitterness and resentment, replacing them with bridges of understanding and compassion. It allows us to experience the freedom and peace that come with letting go of the past. It opens our hearts to a deeper experience of God's love, a love that has the power to heal our deepest wounds and set us free to live a life of purpose and meaning. Section 11. A journey of love, a life transformed. The journey of loving our enemies is not an easy one. It will challenge us, stretch us, and push us to our limits. But it's a journey worth taking. It's a journey that leads to personal transformation, spiritual growth, and a deeper understanding of God's unconditional love. As we strive to love as Jesus loved, we become more like Him. We become instruments of His peace, agents of reconciliation, and beacons of hope in a world that so desperately needs it. Let us embrace the challenge of loving our enemies and discover the transformative power of forgiveness. Let us be the change we wish to see in the world, starting with ourselves. Let us choose love, choose forgiveness, and choose to live a life transformed by the power of grace.